Alright guys, today's video is going to be a bit of a casual conversation. I've been using the Honor 400 Pro for almost a month now, and after using it for that period of time, it got me thinking, you might not actually need a flagship. The mid-range phone like this is actually good enough to do almost everything that a flagship does and then some. So today's video, I'm going to find out how far or how small has the gap been narrowed from the Honor 400 Pro as a mid-range to something like a flagship. And for the benchmark that we are going to be using as a flagship today, let's use the S25 Plus, which is a super popular flagship device. We're going to see how close a mid-range gets to a flagship. Let's check it out. Now, first things first, we're going to talk a bit about the price. Now, the Honor 400 Pro here is actually starting from RM2699. Wait, it only has one spec, so the price is RM2699, and it comes with 12/512, which is more than enough for most of you. Now, moving over to the S25 Plus, now things get interesting here because the S25 Plus is exactly double the price of that from the Honor 400 Pro. So yes, today's video is going to be very interesting. We're going to see how close this can get to the S25 Plus. Let's begin. Now, first things first, let's check out the design. Now, the design of an S25 Plus, naturally, I feel that it feels very premium. We have this very smooth matte panel at the back, which I love, and it's also very slim. It's IP68 protected. You could probably have everything that you need with the design of this. Now, moving on to the Honor device, we also get a very nice matte back panel. It's super smooth. In fact, I think almost as smooth as the one of the S25 Plus, if not even smoother. It comes with a bit of a curved edges at the back, so it's a different approach. It's got a good weight to it, so it also feels like a premium device. And more importantly, it also comes with the IP68 and 6-night protection. The 6-night basically gives you protection from high water pressure as well as high temperature waters. So I would say that it's a little bit more protected compared to the S25 Plus in case, some strong jet shoot against it or you drop your phone in a hot pot, which I did see some people doing. So a little bit more protected here. Good. Now, moving on, let's talk a bit about the display at the front. So very quickly, let me just show you this. The S25 Plus comes with a great display at the front. Naturally, Samsung makes great display panels. It's got 120Hz LTPO. It's a flat display, very slim bezels all around. Now, let's see what the mid-range can do for the Honor 400 Pro. So right at the front here, we've also got a great display. This is an LTPO OLED. It's got slightly curved bezels on the sides here, which makes it very comfortable to just glide around. And the best thing about this ever slightly so curved display is that you do not have any color shifting when viewed from this side. So that's great. The best thing here is that the display actually goes all the way up to 5000 nits. So it's a bit more brighter outdoors, which can be very user-friendly for you guys. However, if we just talk about outright display resolution, the Samsung S25 Plus is higher resolution than the Honor 400 Pro, but the 400 Pro is actually very close and you can't really see the difference with your naked eye. So yeah, still very good in terms of a mid-range device. Now, moving on to our next point here, let's talk a bit about the cameras because that's the part where it's most important. Now, I'm not going to go over the megapixel count because these days it's the final result that counts the most. Now, let's take a look at some photos. I've actually put out the pictures into my computer so we have a proper fair side-by-side comparison instead of just looking at them from their screens. First things first, the Samsung device takes pictures at a very natural kind of look. It's almost exactly what you are seeing with your own eyes. The difference from the Honor is that Honor actually puts in a little bit more of a contrast. The pictures pop a little bit more compared to the Samsung. You won't really notice it if you're just looking at them individually. It only appears to you when you put them side by side. Personally, I think this is down to your personal preference, but things get a bit more different when you zoom into the object. Now, zoom here is definitely one of Honor's strongest feat because they've been working a lot on their zooms with AI and all that, and naturally you can see the difference here. The Honor device produces zoom photos that look super clear, much more clearer than that of the S25. Furthermore, it comes with that higher resolution, which makes it a bit more sharper as well. And if you're just going to be taking objects that are further away, this is where the Honor is also stronger because it maxes out at 50 times zoom compared to 30 times on the S25. So that's just the zoom pictures. Now, moving on to some pretty harsh conditions. Now, I brought these phones to a car show just to see how they will actually perform in a very harsh kind of lighting situation, and you can see the difference here once again. So pictures taken by the Samsung device looks very natural. Personally, I feel that it looks a little bit pale. The pictures on the Honor just look a bit more sharper, a little bit more punchier, and I think for a car show like this, you would want the photos to look like that. Now, last but not least, of course, let's take a look at some skin tones and portraits as well. Now, again, the Samsung really excelled at capturing the very exact kind of look of your skin tones, which I know a lot of you will prefer. But the Honor comes in with their hardcore portrait modes. The hardcore portrait actually gives you a more studio kind of look. It actually makes your skin a little bit more smoother, which you can actually adjust in your settings itself. And ultimately, it gives you a picture that is more contrasty and a bit more saturated. So which one would you actually prefer? Let me know down in the comment section below. Alright, so I know a lot of you are probably going to edit your photos, and in this case, let's take a look at some editing features as well from both devices here. Now, Samsung naturally has a suite of AI features that you can do, remove stuff, expand stuff, and all that kind of thing. Naturally, the Honor device also has that because it's pretty common these days. But the one thing that actually separates the Honor device from the Samsung is that it comes with that Honor AI image to video. Now, this is actually a pretty cool feature because you can use photos not just taken from your device, but also older photos. So I think that's great because all the AI features on the Honor devices are all free to use, and you have a ton of features that works really well. I feel even better than that of the Samsung device. So to sum up the camera section here, I think that the Honor 400 Pro is actually definitely punching above its grade and giving you really good photos, if not better than that of a flagship. Now let's move on to the next part here and talk a bit about the batteries. Batteries are super important. Now the Samsung S25 Plus here comes with a pretty large battery. It also supports 25-watt fast charge as well as wireless charging. Now this is where Honor really excels here. I think it's not really a fight at all because Honor put in a pretty large battery in here. It's a 6000 mAh unit. It supports 100-watt fast charge, guys, which is crazy. And it also supports 50 watts wireless charging, which is also pretty quick. So just in terms of outright battery life, charging speeds, this is where Honor really comes in and takes the cake. Now last but not least, I did not forget about their chipsets. Now for the S25 Plus, naturally since this is a flagship phone, it has to have the latest flagship chipset, and it does have it. It has the Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is the most powerful Snapdragon chipset you can get today. It also runs on One UI, which is great because Samsung has always been pushing out their updates regularly. Now what is being offered by the Honor 400 Pro though is, although this is a mid-range device, but it's using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Now this is actually last year's flagship chipset, and I think by today's standards, it's actually still very strong. I actually think it's a great choice for the Honor 400 Pro because it gives you close to flagship kind of performance, and naturally in most of your day-to-day, you'll be able to do everything that the Samsung can do on the Honor 400 Pro. Now before we go, the Honor 400 Pro runs on the Magic OS. It carries over a lot of features from the Magic 7 Pro, the flagship over here. So I've already did a full video on how Magic OS works, so you can check that out. Now finally, at the end of the day, what do I think for the gap between a mid-range and a flagship? Is it close? How close is it? I would say it's super close. The Honor 400 Pro retails for RM2699 and it's super close to that of a flagship performance. Like I said, using it for more than a month, I didn't really feel that I was missing out on flagship features because I'm getting almost every kind of feature on the Honor 400 Pro and then some. It performs really well, and I think Honor is doing a great job at closing in their mid-range to a flagship. But let me know what you think. You guys have seen the photos, you guys have seen the comparison. Let me know what you think of the Honor 400 Pro in comparison to the S25 Plus. Which one will you actually choose? Also, let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching today's video. Hope today's one has been a pretty fun one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Do take care, stay safe, and bye-bye.